Blog Talk Radio.
Please take all the necessary precautions to protect your constitution while listening to this broadcast.
3, 2, 1. Coming to you live via the internet. It's time for Rage Against the Regime.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Finally, a show for patriots, defending the Constitution and uncovering the truth at every turn, bringing you exclusive interviews and covering the topics the mainstream media doesn't dare to touch. Call in and join the discussion at 929-477-3565. That's 929-477-3565. And now, here are your hosts, Bobby Who's the Man and Becky Williams. Rage Against the Regime.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. Welcome back to Rage Against the Regime podcast. This is Becky Williams. I'll be your host today. Bobby will join us in just a bit if he possibly can. I have today coming back are some of our guests that were here with us yesterday. We have Floyd Brashear on the line. I'll bring him in just just a few moments. Bobby had to work today, so please forgive him. He is broken down on the side of the road with no air brakes on his rig, so he's tending to business. I'm going to go ahead and bring Floyd Brashears in. Floyd, how are you doing today, brother? Welcome.
Good afternoon. It's so good to hear from you, Becky. How's everything for you today?
So far, so good. I was up slaying giants until about 6 a.m. this morning, so I haven't been up too terribly long. It's a good day, though. I looked outside, the sun's shining. I didn't see any smoke or fire, so I'm thinking that's a good thing so far.
Well, we woke up this morning and we were breathing, and it was pouring down rain, which is a good thing. But yeah, I understand the late night oil burning and all that goes on. Too bad about the air brakes. I wish I was there. I could probably help him some, but I'm glad I'm not, though.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, absolutely horrible. I gave him a quick shout, and he's like, "Oh my God, I forgot that you were doing the show 1 o'clock to continue." I'm still waiting on the other guest. I've sent them a text to let them know we've got Terry Fletcher holding. See if I can engage him in some conversation. Yesterday we had some really good feedback from the show, and I feel like we can deliver bad news 24/7. I mean, there's so much going on out there, and it's so disheartening. But I'd really like to, like I said yesterday, get some of the great minds like you and the others that were on the panel, and people like Terry Fletcher and a couple of others out there that I revere as educated, and we need to try to find some solutions. I was reading the U.S. codes last night. I could actually be drawn in on. They wouldn't call it anarchy. They would call it trying to dissolve the government, if you will. But at what point, Floyd, do we stand up and say, that doesn't apply here? That law would not apply here because we've been taken over.
That is exactly right, Becky. I want to say hello to the audience. I hope that I hope it's a big one, and I hope there's a lot of people that listen to what's going on today, because, like you said, we left in the middle of a kind of a productive get together of a lot of people from across this country that have been awake and aware of a long time. And we live in fear that, the government's coming to get us because we're not against the government of this country. We're not against this country in any way, shape, or form. We are for helping this country and to making it a safe place to live, and to maintain it in a constitutional manner that everyone has their unalienable rights. And it doesn't matter. I have very many personal opinions and everything. I'm a very opinionated guy, kind of an adventurer, got my own way of thinking about a lot of things. That is immaterial. That doesn't matter what I think. What really matters is what this country, what these people think, and what we want to do as a country. And our country has been taken over. Our Constitution is being trampled on. I just today was reading about these poor people in Oregon, what they're going through because they wouldn't bake a cake for a marriage. I don't care if the people were gay got married. I don't care what happens to them. I hope they have a great life. But these poor people don't deserve to be punished. It's such an right on. The way it goes for me sometimes.
That was crazy. It actually rang my phone, so I just tied you into the show.
Well, it's great because I was just talking about, about what you said, that, we're about to, the government can come and cause us trouble because we're trying to overthrow the government. Nothing is farther from the truth. Most everybody in a patriot organization that's exactly what they are. They are patriots. They are pro-America. They are pro-people. They are pro-constitutional rights, Bill of Rights, habeas corpus, everything for the people, not against the people, and for the country and for our government, not against our government. Our government's been taken over by a lot of people that don't even understand the Constitution. I don't think they've ever read it, in spite of the fact they're supposed to be constitutional lawyers. And if they have read it, it's been on a biased point of view how they could destroy it. And you know, that's what is going on too. And if we cannot recognize that our Constitution is being destroyed, then we don't have a Constitution in our minds. That means we've never read it, that we've never understood it, that what we really stand for here, like I was saying, it's not about personalities like mine, volatile, adventurous, opinionated. It doesn't matter about my opinion and my own personality. What matters is what we selected was good for the people of this country and how we could get along. And that was what the Constitution was based on. How do we survive as a group of people together under a set of rules that are acceptable to all, that everyone could live under these rules, and it doesn't exclude anybody. Well, when the Supreme Court starts excluding the rights of somebody else because to preclude the rights of another group, there's a bad picture here. It's bad things going on. And if it comes down to the fact that we have got to fear the government themselves are going to come and take us away for our expressing our First Amendment right that we can talk about things, then it is time for them to come take us because we're not standing up and doing what we should do. And that's telling them, no, you ain't taking nobody. Go back home where you came from and change your ways or we're coming to visit you. And that's, you know, that's kind of where we left it off yesterday. There's a lot of more things going on in the militia movement and in just the patriot movement itself and good patriots that I read the things that they write. And a lot of people are just, they're not about militia. They're about the Constitution and what's going on in our country and how do we perpetuate this country whenever we turn our back on the things that made it strong in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You know, and I was reading that information last night while I tried to educate some patriots who were yeehawing with the Cruz and yeehawing with Rick Perry. And, you know, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that we've been educating these people diligently. I know I have for 4 years prior to my run. We started constitutional think tanks across all 50 states on Facebook to educate folks about their state documents and sovereignty and the difference between the documents and the original drawn-up documents, the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, because knowledge is power, Floyd. You know that. I know that. Most of our listeners know that. But we still have people who will stand up and debate both the validity of eligibility on some individuals or their backing candidates who have thrown their hat in the ring for the presidency that are clearly guilty of misprision, and many clearly guilty of treason. They've aided and abetted. They've refused to remove what we have faced for the last 7 years. And I don't want anybody to think that Obama's administration is the first and most, but it is certainly the most dastardly, in my opinion. This has been the most destructive administration that has ever stepped into the seat of in Washington. But I'm trying to educate them to help them understand supporting a candidate has refused to remove a usurper. It's probably not a really bright idea. I mean, you're actually saying that you're on board or you're okay with their crimes, and I'm not good with that.
No, and I'm not either. You know, I have a very strange way of looking at Obama. I think he's done one hell of a fine job. If I was him and I wanted to destroy America, which he is a Muslim, he is everything, a corporate puppet, He is everything that wants to destroy America. He came with that venue in his mind. The fundamental change is we are going to change America into what we want it to be. So it's no longer this bastion of freedom that they profess to be, and no longer this world superpower that can influence the rest of the world. We're taking it apart. We're making it be just like the lowest third world country that we can imagine. We're going to destroy it from within. Having said that, if I would have Obama, I would have done exactly the same thing he did. I would have executed everybody that opposed me. I would have installed people in all positions, in all forms of government. The dog catcher would have been a devout Muslim, very devout to me. Not to mention the Attorney General, who is the watchdog of our government, the watchdog of our freedom, the man who prosecutes violations of our Constitution. That is his primary function, that he prosecutes violations against our country. Not that he goes out as a traffic cop or that he sells weapons to the cartel. I mean, how does this get on? This is all smoke and mirrors. So this government is not, our government is not ruined. What is ruined are the people that are in there are instigating, infiltrating, and are doing everything they can to convince us that they have won. And I say, no, they have not won. All it takes is us to say, no, we ain't buying this no more. You people are done. Move on or pay the price. And that's what America has got to do. I mean, it is imperative. So that if they're going to come for me because I'm saying things against the government, then they're coming for me. I can't stop, and I won't stop, because there'll be another man behind me come right along and pick right up where I left off. And one day they'll stand up all at the same time and say that the end of you people. And that's got to come real soon, because people, don't you see how bad they're pushed? They think they have us. They have Jade Helman plates. They have more military hardware than I've ever seen in my life, piled up in the Southwest United States somewhere, everywhere. I don't know. Where are all the soldiers at? I don't know. Where are all these people at? I'm seeing trains and trains and trains and hearing airplanes and it's all over, but where is it? And now what are they going to do? Bring in UN troops to man all this stuff? Who knows, and why? Is it because they're, the Supreme Court's going south on us and making rulings that are just absolutely against the Constitution of the United States? Is it because they're taking everything that they took that flag down at Fort Sumter? Now, how could that be? That is they took a Confederate battle flag down at Fort Sumter. Now, what are you trying to prove by doing this? It's just a piece of cloth, okay? It's just a piece of cloth. But a lot of people feel really strong about that piece of cloth. Why would you destroy their culture because someone said it's offensive? How can you destroy a whole people over an agenda for a bunch of, I'll just come out and say it, for a bunch of homosexuals and a bunch of perverts, pedophiles, and I mean, how can you destroy an entire country for a special agenda? That is against the Constitution. That's what we're talking here, and that's what they're doing.
Well, what we have so much going on, and this is part of the oligarchy. I mean, if Thomas Mick ever makes it to the line, he can best explain it. But what we have, to God, is we've got a Supreme Court that is handpicked. For the listeners out there that don't understand this, the Supreme Court is handpicked by every president. They place somebody. There's no term limit, and there should be. They pick the parties to which will bend, their ears are bent, and their decisions are manipulated with direction. And that is not what their purpose was originally. It was to make sure that we had supreme justice over any judgment or ruling that didn't coincide constitutionally with the law from a lower court. It was the end to the means of the battle, or it was supposed to be. And what we've seen is this ruling on the gay marriage has so many more implications and probabilities of corrupt law and unjust law, stripping away more rights while giving the illusion that rights are being given. That was opening up a bee's nest because, pardon me, for anybody out there that's listening in, when you have a court case that has gone completely against the Constitution, invaded the state's right to make their own decisions across the board, which is what they did with this marriage thing.
Yes, exactly.
And using they've taken away our rights as a state to live as we see fit, which is a direct violation of your Bill of Rights, of your Declaration of Independence for your state. The boundaries have been broken, and we have been completely taken over. And in my opinion, that's criminal. Not just in my opinion, but according to law, from what I understand, that's criminal what they just did. But because of their position, they seem to think that they're above the law and that they can manipulate the Constitution. That Constitution can only be changed by Congress, not SCOTUS. And it can only be changed by the will of the people, to my understanding. And we've got some folks that have come on to join us, Wilbur being one of them. Welcome to the show, Wilbur.
Long time no see, Becky. How you doing?
Hey, brother, I've missed you with all my heart. You know, I don't know how much of that conversation you picked up, but we've got Floyd on the line, and Floyd was with me yesterday. We had a great panel. I'm still waiting on many of them to return to the call. So we picked up where we left off. Wilbur, have you listened to much of that conversation about the ruling?
Over the week, since the ruling, I have restudied. I saw a most excellent video on YouTube where the lady explained there's only three things the government can do. It can endorse, permit, or forbid. Like you endorse that we need police, okay? You need policing of your street. We permit two men to live together, okay? We have forbidden armed robbery, forcible rape, stuff like that. And it also, and this is just the opinion of the video, it explained between natural marriage, which is one man, one woman, make one baby, and gay marriage, which is two of whomever, the reason that natural marriage works is because, and Becky, don't take this personal because I know you're a truth slinger. I think women are generally weaker than men, okay, physically.
Yes.
So the way it's supposed to lay out is the man goes out and kills the mastodon and the woman cooks it. And that makes, otherwise the man would go hither and yon and do whatever he wants to do, and the women would be out there to fend for themselves. And when you've got two men together, then, I hate to use this term, but who's on top, okay? Who said that? Anyway, that's and natural marriage contributes to society. It contributes children. It basically tames us men down, because I say the women are weaker than men, but when you're married, very quickly you find out who's really running the house, because she's generally in control, and she's the tempering effort that keeps the wilder urges out. Something else came up in Austin. I did actually a joke 2 years ago, and then I started hammering this nail again and again, and slowly but surely everybody figured out it wasn't really a joke. And the joke was, you meet a girl in Las Vegas, and she's really cute, so you run across the street to the Elvis Wedding Chapel, and you get married, okay? You bring her back to Texas, and about the first year, everything's pretty cool. Then you kind of discover that she's a meth head with 15 boyfriends, and so you just got to live with it for a while and try to work it out. Another year passes, and any license that's ever been, you have to study and renew. So we got marriage license. What would be if you say 2 years comes up and you say, hey, baby, hey, it started out real good, but it didn't go good after a while. I don't think I'm going to renew you this time. And everybody got a big laugh, but here's the bottom line. If you didn't have any marriage license, you wouldn't need no Supreme Court ruling. If two guys wanted to live together and they didn't bother the neighborhood, they'd be this nice young gay couple down at the end of the block with a pretty flower garden. If they weren't trying to get in the middle of all the politics. Because I read some stuff by Becky last week, and quite frankly, I was surprised. Where she didn't stand dead against gay people at all. Whatever anybody wants to do in the privacy of their own home, as long as they're not sacrificing goats, that's fine with her. And I'm pretty much the same way. Got some gay friends and everything, and we sit around and talk about this subject all the time. And whatever they do in their private moments is the business. I don't think it's safe. I think that it's a little weird. All right. But myself, if I was left to my own devices, I'd probably have 3 wives at one time. So that's a little weird too. We all have our moments. I'm not going to judge somebody because of their orientation. If they really feel that way, it makes them happy, and they're showing up at work every day and paying their taxes, I'm really cool with it. Now, when they start marching on the Supreme Court and they make me eat their ideas and go over the state law, go over all the will, literally all the people, then we got a problem. It's a constitutional question, just like in California. 52% of Californians said no gay marriage, and one gay judge overruled the entire state. Then he stepped down from the bench and married his girlfriend. Folks, that's not right. That's just not right. The same thing happened at the Libertarian Convention. I showed up down there. I was fighting the CPS. I was fighting for borders. I was fighting for taxes, all this stuff. And I showed up, and there was about 30 guys that wanted to sit around and talk about their pricks all the time. That was the most important thing on the agenda. The 3% of the convention had the tail had to wag the dog. We couldn't move on. We couldn't discuss borders. Before they were through with us, we couldn't even define borders. We spent 30 minutes trying to get a 1-minute extension on the debate so we could try to define what a border is. That's not right either. That's stupid. I do think that this latest little escapade of the Supreme Court is one more nail in the coffin, and that eventually the Republic of Texas will become a reality simply because everybody is tired of it. Just simply tired of it. Obama lights up the White House with a multicolored flag thing. I mean, come on, I thought that Muslims didn't like homosexuals.
He's more interested in Hollywood and his worshiping, people worshiping at his feet, calling a gay football player and congratulating him on his boldness to come out and speak publicly, to profess, his gayness, if you will. But he won't show honor as a commander-in-chief over the military of the United States. He has refused to serve honor. I mean, for God's sake, when the SEALs died and they brought them home after, Biden supposedly gave up their coordinates. I don't know how that happened. The chopper was shot down. He brought an imam in to curse the soldiers in Arabic when they were flown in. He didn't bring in a priest. He didn't bring in a preacher, a Christian man of the cloth or a woman of the cloth. He brought in an imam, a Muslim, to hold this vigilance over our U.S. military. And the things that I have found out about the leaders, I've watched some very interesting videos that one of our brothers turned me on to, and it is a woman who actually is exposing generals' names and the corruption in the DOD and the Pentagon. She is an Illuminati's ex-wife, I believe is who she was. Listen, that woman's going to die. The things that she exposed in that 4-part series was very disturbing. And I've asked myself this question. I've asked the audience many, many times, what the hell is going on? I mean, pardon me. Why won't our military remove him? Why won't somebody remove this usurper? I mean, the subjugation is infinite at this point in every area of what was supposed to be law in this country. And you've got the infighting, Wilbur. You've got the gays hating the Christians. Hell, the Christians are hating each other. You've got the blacks against the whites, the Hispanics mocking in our faces, joining the blacks, by the way, folks. And just to give you an idea how dangerous this is, the blacks have joined the Muslim Brotherhood against the whites. They're calling for genocide of the white nation, or the white people of this nation. You've got the Hispanics. We have 1/4, let this resonate, 1/4 of the entire population of Mexico has now infiltrated this country. 1/4. 1/4 of El Salvador has now infiltrated this country. Listen, some of the most notoriously dangerous, murderous gangs come out of those two nations. And they're now here in our country. And they're taking ranks up with the black movement, which would be the equivalent of the BEE out of South Africa, that is waging genocide on white South Africans. And this is a fact. It's a fact. It's something the news does not want to report. I've had some activists on my show, one in particular, Sunette Bridges, who's now had to go underground because her life is very much in danger, that has worked diligently to free the whites in Africa. And I'm not trying to make this a white-black thing, but I want the people to understand the danger that we're facing on an aggressive, your very life is in danger. So you've got the Mexicans who are saying we stole their land, they're here to take it back. They're being assisted by this government with the open border issues. They're pouring through like rushing water, and we created 16 times more jobs in Mexico than we created in America since 2013. Those are facts.
Yeah, but it really doesn't make any difference to anybody because, like with TPP, once they get their little game and their little playbook in order here, they don't care who the people are. They do not care who runs the country. They do not care whether you have any rights or not. What they care about is they control the profit. The profit is driving everything. The Congress has been totally, our lobbyists, are you kidding? You mean our bribers from the most richest corporations in the world, like you take Donald Trump and his little bid. He is a real estate mogul. Do you realize that the TPP, the largest contributor to advance TPP is the real estate business because they stand to make trillions of dollars, not billions, trillions on all the assets of America are going to be at the disposal of corporations. So what did they care if the Mexicans come and kill the white boy or the black man gets trampled into the mud or if the Muslims win this country? Who cares who runs this country? The only people that's in this country, the only people that in this world that care what happens in this country are the patriots of this country that say enough. We have got to defend our Constitution. The profit is going to be taken. Let's take the profit away from this corporation and let's give it to the people. We don't need the IRS. We don't need income tax. We don't need welfare. We have enough resources in this country that every man, woman, and child can be well taken care of. All we got to do is quit throwing it away and watching it go into some CEO's pocket.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead. Well, I wanted to interject something before I get off track here. in another life, I was in real estate. Okay, Becky's from Texas and everything. And Becky, you know what the Texas Real Estate Commission is, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've stood before the commission for various brokers 12 times, and I've won 12 times up, 12 times down. Donald Trump, and some of this higher politics gets beyond me, but I can tell you this categorically. A real estate broker thinks linearly. When you take the real estate test, when you work with real estate, like you think 1 foot in front of the other foot, measure this, measure that, here's where the money comes from, and like little things like was told by me, by real estate brokers, anything but the money in your hand is a game, you know, something like that. But if you understand that, you'll understand Donald Trump, and this gentleman's exactly right. Trump probably doesn't care who's running the country so long as those steps line up. That's it, period. I did an article on this. I think some of y'all might have read it. I did an article yesterday called The Donald. I actually like Donald Trump because I don't like Hillary and I don't like Obama. And he is such a ringer. They can't relate. And I'm reading all these stuff. As we speak, I've got my computer set up here on the porch. As we speak, I'm reading the input from people. They're going to make a bowl of political soup out of Donald Trump, and this lady's going to tear him up, and this person's going to tear him up. Well, he just moved into the number one slot. You know, he knows how to manipulate politics, you know, and he can buy his way up. It couldn't be any worse than Obama. Now, another thing about the Mexicans, and this is going to be racial as hell. I'm going to probably get bombed before the show's over. But I got this belief, I got this study in my head, and no white nation has ever been successfully invaded by anybody darker than them. That is a fact. Period. The Japanese in World War II, the saying was, America hasn't lost a war in over 200 years. Well, the Japs hadn't lost a war in 4,000 years. You know, they've been going pretty strong, but they lost to us. Well, the black-white thing, I hit Byron, Antoine, Wesley hit me so hard the other day, unfriended me and everything else, over the whole Confederate flag, Charleston deal and everything like that, all because I wrote an article, and it was a very simple article, actually. It said, what if the Civil War had never happened? What if, skip that it was over, slavery, states' rights, whatever. What if the South had seceded and Lincoln had just said, okay, screw you, go your own way? Do you really think that slavery would have survived? They were already moving away from it. Do you really think that ribeye steaks wouldn't have been eaten in New York City? Do you honestly think that New York Jewish bankers wouldn't have found their way to Dallas? You know, what if we hadn't gone through that mess to get where we are now, and we're still paying for it? We just go in the middle of an argument over a damn battle flag that is dead as cornbread. But we're all fighting over it.
No, you're in the middle, brother, you're in the middle of an argument over a lie that has been continually shoved down generation after generation the throats of the population. The truth is this: 95% of the South did not have slaves when the Civil War commenced. The North were the slave owners. There were more black slave owners. There were more than whites. There were more white slaves than blacks. It's a lie. The blacks have been used to death. Before we get too far off subject, I want to get back to the SCOTUS, you guys. I've invited JP, a very good friend of mine. I'd like to call her a sister. Jo has joined us, and I've opened up her mic. She's been waiting patiently. Jo, welcome to the show. We have some interesting questions about what just happened. Thank you for coming, sister.
All right. So I did, before we start, you can ask me questions, and I am a justice of the peace, so I basically unbiased because I'm a judge. So I have to be fair in everything I do, and I am a very fair person. But I want to read something someone else wrote, and I don't know who wrote it, so I can't give them credit. But it made a lot of sense to me, so I'm going to read this. People don't understand what happened Friday. 5 unelected people just set a precedent that enables them to nullify any right you have. All this talk about the 14th Amendment, but no one has mentioned the 10th Amendment. In one day, 5 people rewrote law, nullified law in states that has voted to ratify that law, and set a precedent to impose their will on any subject they choose, no matter the will of the people. I don't care where you stand on gay marriage, the Confederate battle flag, Obamacare, the Second Amendment, or anything else. In one day, 5 people have made Congress, state government, the U.S. Constitution, the rule of law, and the people of the U.S. irrelevant without even firing a shot. And to joyous applause, no less. And it was written by someone named Shelley Wellbank. If you don't understand what that means, let me spell it out for you. 5 people that you didn't vote for now have the power to change anything about your life, and tomorrow it might not be something that you actually approve of. Oh, well, too bad. You have given up your freedom for some crumbs and officially embraced the dictatorship. Your vote is meaningless. I thought that summed it up pretty good.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Yes, ma'am.
So
that is disturbing.
They no longer go with constitutional law. They go with something called precedents. It doesn't matter what's in the Constitution. It doesn't matter what the people said. Some lawyer slipped something through 35 years ago, and somebody else found it when it was printed, so that in itself became a law. Joe Blow married his dog in Wisconsin, so therefore we can all marry dogs now. What does the Constitution say? It says you can't marry dogs. No, it doesn't matter. Joe Blow married his dog.
Well,
the premise is that the federal government did not have this power to begin with. It is none of their business. They do not have the right to get a marriage license for any reason. The right to call marriage license for any reason. These are religious and states' rights that are not set forth in the Constitution, specifically given to the federal government of the United States. This is a farce. They have no right to make that distinction. The Supreme Court had no right to pass that point of view. That's what it is. It's a point of view. It's not law. And it is up to the people to say, wait, you're not getting away with this. And it's not too late yet. This country is not defeated. I refuse to believe this country is going to be defeated. I think that we can change it, we can turn this around. I think that they have made a bad mistake in their overreach in the Supreme Court by a bunch of people appointed because they agreed with what their political views and their future political agendas, by the way, was the reason that they got appointed to this position in the first place. That's what we're talking about here. The capital cronyism of the 3 branches of our government have all came together. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's saying the same damn thing. There is no accountability. We have no attorney general. We have nothing left. We don't even have bona fide generals in our armed forces anymore. It's time for the people to take care of this, not for the politicians or for the Supreme Court or anybody to believe anything else they say. It's time for us to say enough here. It's time to go back to the Constitution here.
Well, Joe, as a judge, as a JP elected by the people in your county,
right?
What are your thoughts on our ability as the people to raise enough hell, if you will, or to object, which is what it would be in a court of law? It's an objection, correct? I object, Your Honor. What are your thoughts on this, sister?
I don't know, because I don't know how it's going to play out, because my state wants religious freedom, and they're fighting for religious freedom, and by what that means is you have the right to, well, what right? You have to, they're still fighting it out. Basically, you have the right to refuse if it's against your religious beliefs, and I think that's pretty much as of yesterday or the day before. I don't know how that's playing out. But basically, when this group of JPs got elected last November, this was not on the agenda. And at that time, our state had marriages between a man and a woman. So in some ways, I think a justice should not be able to refuse, but then in some ways, since when they were elected, this law was not in place, I'm thinking they should have the right to refuse. So I don't know. Nobody knows how it's going to play out. Now, and then if the election was held today and this law was in place, then you should not run for office if you're not going to abide by this law. That's just my opinion because you know what you're up against. But
you strike a very I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, but
being
as I think there's 600 and something JPs who are out in my area, in my state, being as we were all elected under the law of our state, which was marriage between a man and a woman, so I would think they would have that right to refuse. But and I know
that we have some Texas. We've had some that have decided that it goes against their religious belief and they've refused to do so. You struck a chord there, and I want to say this, and I'll let you continue. I apologize for cutting you off, but I don't want to lose this thought. You simply said this: if it were to be that the elections were held today after the SCOTUS has so maliciously attacked law and our rights by state, that if you have a problem with it, you simply won't run. Well, folks, she made a profound statement there because basically that replaces all judgment in the states with like-minded individuals, which is exactly the UN agenda, with the everybody being like-minded on a scale of UNESCO and Common Core. Well, now they're taking it down to a legal level for judgment over the people by elected officials, where they'll all be Alinsky, if you will, minded individuals.
But
I have another.
Go ahead, Vicki.
No. Go ahead.
I have another thought about that too, because we're already having clerk of courts and JPs stepping down from office. They're quitting, which means now the state, the counties, the parishes, whichever you have in whatever state you're in, will have to hold a special election, which is going to cost the taxpayers more money. So there is another problem that's developed. And number two, my other school of thought on this is that if you're gay and you want to get married, just go find a JP that'll marry you and leave the preachers alone. Now, if the gay people are going to go ram this down the preacher's throat and cause problems, I don't think that's right either. And that's what the justice of peace is for. Use them and just leave the preachers alone. Don't badger people that don't believe the way you do. Don't badger them. Just find somebody else. If somebody don't want to bake your cake, I'm sure there's a bakery owned by some gay people that'll be glad to bake your cake. But all this suing everybody, they don't believe the way you believe, that's got to stop. And the court should quit letting these lawsuits go through. They're frivolous, in my opinion.
Right, exactly, because that family is experiencing, the owners of that bakery are being chastised. They have a red letter on their chest now. They're being mocked. They're being sued. Their lives are being disrupted on a personal level and a business level. You've got a gay couple who, personally, I would like to take out back and flog the hell out of them, that are absolutely just being ignorant. We have to understand it's like this. Mama and Daddy used to tell us, and I'm sure many others, pick your battles. Pick your battles. Make sure they're just. Don't start the fight, but don't run from it, by God. Well, that they had the right to deny that to be done in their bakery if they chose not to make that cake because it went against their beliefs. That, the insanity is a wedding cake has a topper. They could have baked the cake, and those people could have gone and purchased their own topper online, at a gay shop somewhere, whatever. That's what this all boils down to.
The first lawsuit against the bakery is not that they wouldn't bake the cake, it's that they would not bring it to the wedding hall and participate in the wedding. That's the lawsuit.
Oh,
just
Jesus.
Like if you're a photographer and you don't want to photo their wedding, it's because you're participating in that wedding by being there. It's not so much that they, it's like you can go to Walmart, buy your own cake, and stick your own toppers and stick on it, whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Speaking of Walmart, did you see where they made an ice cake?
You know something that really amazes me. Something that amazes me, and I'm from Austin. Okay, there's a lot of gay people. Austin gay people are a little different from gay people. They have their own society. Yeah, I mean they're a little more queer than everybody else, but they have their own society. And if you live in Austin and you don't understand gay people, then you don't need to go to a restaurant or ever get your hair cut. And to be honest with you, if I were going to get married again, I'm not going to go through counting all the X's here, but I think I got one tag left on my deer license. But if I were going to get married again, and there was a cake shop in town, and everybody said, "Oh man, that's the best cake shop in the world. My God, you got to go there. They could bake a tire and it would come out good." Blah 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 blah. And they mentioned it's owned by a gay guy. Now this is weird. To me, that would be a plus. They're articulate. Your drink is always filled at the restaurant. You would go in there and you say, "I'm going to marry Becky here," and everything. Oh, it's so wonderful. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm going to get such a cake. Oh my God, and they'll knock their something. Why do the radical gays, just like the judge just said, why do they have to shove this when everybody can live together and appreciate everybody else for what they're good for? It's as simple as that.
Where I live, all you got to do is open the phone book or go online. You hit JP's in your county, parish, whatever state you live in. There's a list of 15, 20, 30, whatever. You go down the list, find one that'll marry you, boom, go get married. But then are you going to take the other 14 or 15 on the list? I don't know, because I'm not in that position. I'm on the other end of it. But there's plenty of people out there that will take care of your marriage, your cake, your photography, your whatever. And I'm sure I have worked with many fine people that are gay. I lived in New York. I worked with a few people. I have, I don't have any understood. I just don't want
you can get any kind of service you want in this country. I mean, you can get anybody to do whatever you want. Here's the real thing that's going on with this. This is not about gay rights at all. Even the gay people are losing their rights in the long run over this. They do not understand that. They think they've won a huge victory. But here's what the real thing is going on. This is a war against Christianity. We have a Muslim in the White House. They are at war with Christianity right now, and whether I'm a Christian or not is immaterial. This battle is raging, and they are the Muslim in the White House is winning this because he has all the ammo right now. But
you're talking to
saying.
People, listen, you're talking to people who know what's going on. 75-80% of the people out there will vote for somebody based on one agenda. Like a lot of
and that's what he's doing. That's exactly what's going on. Is they're basing everything on one agenda. What you need to do is step back and look at the whole picture here. This ain't about whether you're gay or not, or you get your cake baked. This is about what happens if you go against what we desire to happen in this country as we magically transform it into a caliphate of corporations. Man, I don't know. I get tired of trying to wake people up to say they're awake when they're not really awake. Because I talk to a lot of Christian men and Christian militia, and they say, "Oh well, this is about God and everything," and I say, "No, man, this is about world domination. That's what this is about. You people need to wake up. You are just a cog in the gear here. I don't care if you get." In the end, they want complete everything. And if they have to push Christianity to do it, fine. They don't mind doing it at all, and they'll use whatever they can use. ISIS, Islam, people in hand. They're going to use it. And this is where I'm coming from, that the big picture here is not about the... I don't care if every homosexual in the country gets married tomorrow. I don't care. But what I do care is, you tell me I have got to go down there
We lost you.
know what I mean?
You're fading in and out. Yeah, absolutely. And Joe brings so much information to the table from the other side of the bench. We're on this side. We're the populace. Joe is the one who is going to be under the gun, so to speak, by the public. And Joe, how do you feel about performing that ceremony should it be presented in your county? I mean, we have to consider your feelings too. Sure, you're an elected official, but you have your own morals and convictions and religious beliefs, and you should not have there shouldn't be an imposition of something that goes against that for you, in my opinion, nor should you be penalized for it or removed from the bench.
I don't think my personal opinion even plays into this. I have to obey the law. I was elected to obey the law. I was elected to be fair and impartial, and I am a very fair and impartial person, and I will do my job as I'm supposed to do my job. And no personal feelings are going to come into it whatsoever.
Well, God bless you, sister. I mean, I really don't envy the position that you're being put in by a corrupt Supreme Court. Here's my opinion, folks. I'll just tell you flat out. Originally, we were supposed to be sovereign states. The people are supposed to, for lack of a better word to pick out of the dictionary, dictate what we agree to be ruled under or the laws that we feel we can, across the board, amicably live under. There some laws good, some laws are bad. Unfortunately, we've reached a point in society where law is worse than lawlessness itself. I mean, I think that we have an agreement at this table concerning the illegalities of what is supposed to be the representation of the people in a court of law. And the SCOTUS has certainly presented us with that in the last week. There's something else that was brought to my attention while trying to educate idiots that are supposed to be patriots. I like to call them challenged intellectually. They have a tunnel vision on a Tea Party page last night. I had an Egyptian who was mocking me when I presented law to him concerning an illegal a party who wasn't a citizen actually voting in a federal election. He assured me that he would be voting in the next election for the President of the United States. When I asked him if he was a citizen, he mocked me. I said, "You're not a citizen. You have no right to vote in the election." And he said, "And so what? What are you going to do about it?"
Well, that's what we're up against. I mean, if there's some time in my life somebody comes to my court and wants me to use Sharia law, I'm going to tell them no. It's the United States of America.
Right.
I don't recognize Sharia law.
Amen.
That's not to say that might not happen. The way things are going.
Well, this Egyptian informed me that 2 days ago, while everybody's distracted, that the SCOTUS, they created their own law saying that it was unlawful to ask for proof of citizenship at the polls.
Right, I saw that.
And I went back and did some checking, and what I saw was that it was for the state of Arizona, which sets precedence for the rest of the states. Now, I did not see where that was in fact factual for the state of Texas, and I'm asking you as a judge, do you know any more about that? Is it for all 50 states now? Is the influx that have been brought in of Muslims and illegals, foreign invaders from around the country, is it for everybody?
I haven't researched it, but it was my understanding. I haven't researched it and read 4 or 5 articles like I usually do, but it's my understanding if the Supreme Court came down with that ruling, I was under the assumption it's for all 50 states. Now, I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't researched it. So,
anybody else on the panel know anything about that? This is while you guys weren't looking.
Yeah, and then same thing you did, Becky, that it said that it repealed a law in Arizona that required voter ID. That, if I recall, that's what I was reading there. And I'm not sure if that was something new from the Supreme Court or what, and that it was, of course, being appealed. And that was the last that I read about that of course it was being appealed.
Well, that's what got me into the U.S. codes and the laws, and I actually went and pulled it up and showed it to him, and I said, it's my right whenever I witness a felony in my state being committed for me to absolutely arrest you on the spot with a citizen's arrest. That is my right. And I said, now that I have screenshot this conversation, because he was mocking me, he said, you can't go against the Supreme Court decision, blah, blah, blah. I said, sir, you're wrong, because I've researched that, and all I can find is that it's for the state of Arizona, not the state of Texas. And you've already told me what your intentions are, that it's premeditated felony that you're about to commit, and I'll turn your name over to be listed to the proper authorities. But he was mocking me. So now we have a bigger problem. We have all these foreign invaders that have come in, and then these so-called immigrants that he's flooding our country with, ignoring the limit law on immigration from certain regions, and giving them so-called political asylum. This regime is filling this country. The statistics that were given, and remember, you guys keep in mind, they always lie to us about the numbers, was that the minority level in this country, meaning outnumbering the whites, that's what that means, folks, the Europeans, the original populace of the United States, has increased more than 5% over the last 18 months. Well, they breed like cockroaches when they come out of the South America and Mexico. The Muslims breed like cockroaches because their plight is to outbreed or breed out the white population. And again, I'm not trying to make this a racial thing. I'm a quarter Indian, and the atrocities that have been delivered to my people are horrific. I have a roll number. I come from the Hodo tribe. My grandmother was full-blooded. And so when I engage in these arguments and then they start slashing me because I'm white and having this argument, I just shut them down and say, you know what, my people are still suffering. They're in they call them reservations. Those are FEMA camps. It's bullshit. It's a containment area.
It's a containment, yeah.
That's what that is. They give it a nice name, semantics. It's so beautiful. I can romance you to death with the power of my tongue, and I can pick all kinds of words to do that with, but in my heart, I may have nothing but ill harm coming to you. That's what my will is for you, and I can paint that picture any way I want to, and that's how they have contorted and perverted the laws in this country, the Constitution, the very documents, the very foundation of our country has been completely decimated. It's been destroyed, and you have a Supreme Court that has gone rogue. These guys are thugs. These ladies and gentlemen, these 5 people are nothing more than another branch of mafia with ill will for the people. They are not representing us collectively and fairly as a whole. So what do we do? How do we remove this
First of all, the Secretary of State in each state is in charge of the election, local, state, and in order to run for president, the people running have to go through the Secretary of State of each state on the ballot. That's the law now. So if it does go to all 50 states, which, like I said, I have not researched this, then there'll be big changes in each Secretary of State office, I assume, because the Secretary of State of each state is the one that's in charge of the elections of each state. That's why there was a big snafu when Obama ran the first time. His papers were not in order, yet all 50 states went ahead and okayed him to run, even though the papers were fraudulent, by Nancy Pelosi.
And 4 people sit in prison for forgery on those signatures. 4 people were convicted and imprisoned for that, by the way.
didn't know that.
Yet he still sits. You know, Roy Chin was one of my, he was my economic advisor. He's actually running for the Secretary of State in Missouri. And this would have been a great conversation had I been able to get a hold of Roy and known that we were going in this direction. I would have certainly done so because Roy could bring a lot to the table on that subject matter.
So basically,
we're
at the beginning of no states' rights. That's the way I'm taking this from the redefinition of marriage took away all states' rights. That's the way I personally, I'm not a lawyer, not even close to a lawyer, but that's the way, as an American citizen, I read that. We have lost states' rights, basically.
Jesus.
Maybe not all
Christ.
of them, but
what do we do?
And that's exactly the way I understand it too. Just as a layman, I'm going to say one thing, Judge, that, you know, what you said really hit my heart, that you would judge things according, without bias and with an eye towards what the law actually reads. I love to hear that from Americans and from American judicial. And, of course, I'm not part of that realm or anything, but, you know, that we need law enforcement and people to protect us from the monsters and to take care of what we deem unacceptable in our society. Of course we do. We have got to take care of ourselves. There are monsters everywhere, and you will never get rid of them. And our judicial system under the Constitution is the most wonderful thing because we all have rights. And we don't get thrown in the dungeon for no reason, and theoretically. But now that can all change. We can go to the dungeon. That began our conversation this afternoon, is what happens if we go and we stand up against the government and they come to take us away. Well, it's not our right to stand up for our government, much less our duty. And you know, where does a moral man draw the line here? I'm not talking a religious man. I'm talking a moral man that knows right from wrong. That, you know, how do you protect your country and your fellow citizens and your family in the future, your grandchildren down and through posterity? How do you protect this country after giving them a blank check to fight all enemies, foreign and domestic, and really taking it to heart? How do you stand idly by and watch this go on?
The same way we've been standing idly by for 6 years and watching it go on. Nobody's going to do anything. People want to do something. They don't know what they're going to do. And everybody that's a responsible American wants to go by the law. They don't want to respect the law because they're responsible individuals. So they're at a loss at what to do because we, under the illusion, we elected people and sent them to Washington, D.C. to protect us, and we don't know that that's being done or not, and everybody is in a quagmire because we don't know what's happening. But there was one judge, Scalia maybe, I'm trying to remember which judge, I'm trying to find it now. It was just very profound after all this went down. Here it is. Let me read this. This is from Samuel Alito. He said, and this is right after the Supreme Court ruling, he said, I assume that those who cling to old beliefs will be able to whisper their thoughts in the recesses of their homes. But if they repeat those views in public, they will risk being labeled as bigots and treated as such by governments, employers, and schools. Justice Samuel Alito said that on, what day? June 27th. Now that's
and is that not the truth? That is the truth. That's what is going on right now. Right now, as we speak, that's happening to us.
You know what? They haven't met Becky Williams because I'm not one to go inside the walls of my house and whisper anything. I refuse. I'm that person. I'm that bitch. They can label me. They can label me whatever they want to label me.
You probably already got labeled.
No, absolutely. I know that I am. But we have got to, at some point, stop the infighting. You know, like I stated in the beginning, we have Christians against Christians. We've got patriots against patriots. Hell, I was attacked last night by an idiot. Even when pulling factual information from the law library and putting it on that Tea Party site, somebody who was having a discussion with the Maud, the Egyptian, her name was Sarah, she wanted to argue the points even when I presented the proof concerning law and how we're supposed to be governed in the state of Texas. It was a Texas Tea Party page. And I've got a patriot who wanted to attack me for presenting evidence to factual information that proves Rick Perry is part of the oligarchy and that he allowed the invasion into Texas. And she wanted to tell me that he had no control over border issues, that the invasion was a moot point because he did everything he could to secure the border, which is actually a lie, and that the borders are secured by the feds. No, they're not. Read your documents. Read your documents about the invasion on your state. Every state has the right to secure their borders. And when you border an international border or a foreign country, as Commander-in-Chief of the state of Texas, it was his responsibility to shut that border down and to assure the people of Texas that they had safety against invasion. They were talking about interstate tuition and, anchor babies and what their rights are. Listen, you have no rights here if you weren't born here. You can't manipulate and pervert the law. You can't commit the criminal act of opening a border and invading a country and by executive order calling for amnesty because you said so. Obama, sit down and shut up.
Rick Perry says that borders are secure. I think he said that yesterday.
Yeah, well, he's a liar. He's a liar. I ran for governor. My platform was secession. I had a military
and how interesting is the fact that, Becky knows that I was one of the first who went to the border. I may have been the first who went to the border whenever the invasion started and tried to do what I could do. How interesting is the fact that I wound up facing Texas militia charged with invading the state of Texas from the state of Oklahoma as a militia, and had very many personal problems and political problems, and because I was invading the state of Texas while I was simply trying to go to the border and do what I could do, and it was like holding water in an open palm. It ran between your fingers. There were so much going on, and people, I'm telling you, Rick Perry had opportunity after opportunity to close that border. I emailed him daily trying to get him to take steps that were so easy, so quick. All he had to do, $3 million a day for the National Guard, and they give them rubber bullets. We didn't want bullets. We wanted people, and being able to feed ourselves and to stand on that border, the people would have done it. But they refused not only to let us do it, but would arrest us for doing anything, for appearing on their property, for being on federal property, for trespassing on private property that was owned by the cartel. Are you kidding me? The cartel filed charges on me and put me in jail for trespassing in America? Well, that's what Rick Perry did, and I will never
Absolutely.
Becky,
you have one picture that the media paints, and then you have another picture that is factual. And what you experienced, brother, was fact. See, that invasion in that border affects all 50 states. It's a foreign land. It's a foreign border to a foreign nation, a hostile nation that we have over 300 incidents confirmed of shots being fired on American citizens or agents from the other side of the border into America. That is an act of war, not just a declaration. It is an actual act of war without response from Rick Perry, without response from Greg Abbott. We just had a chopper shot down, by the way. No retaliation concerning engagement of war, and from the federal government. The feds do not control the border of your state. That is your government's responsibility. And for Rick Perry to bring in a National Guard rather than a state guard gave full reign of governmental direction by the feds, who had already given the DHS, who controls the border and the border agents, the directive to stand down, assist, and not resist the invasion into America. And I know this to be fact. I had a military council, active duty border patrol. I knew exactly what was going on. I had active duty state guards in that council. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Yet you've got the infighting amongst patriots because you've got little Sarah over here whose little feelings are hurt, and she's sucking on the throne of Rick Perry, who she sees as some kind of savior or God that can save America, and she doesn't even know she's trying to vote in the enemy. He's guilty of treason. He's guilty of aiding and abetting. He's guilty, period. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to rage. You guys, can I bring somebody in real quick?
Well,
go ahead.
Let me say one thing. If you want to know who's in charge of the border, if you want to know how it really works, just drive across the border of California from Arizona with a pickup truck, and within 50 miles, they will be stopping you and looking for plants, animals, things they don't want in their state, defending their border with America. That's the damn thing. It's just, and I've been stopped. Plants, animals, dogs, cats, fleas. No, they got the little mirror under there and make sure you're not bringing all states have the right to secure their state. California's one of the worst. This whole thing, this invasion thing, has gotten completely out of control, and Becky is right. She is exactly right. If we told Mexico, if the Texas government told Mexico, look, the next time you fire a shot, the next time, we're going to come across that river and we're going to take 50 miles of your country as a buffer zone, okay? Next time. Now, the next time you fire on the buffer zone, we're going to take another 100 miles. And we're going to keep working that way till you get it right, and we get to the Panama Canal. And then you can swim that, bitch.
I agree 100%. You cannot continue to ignore the fact that foreign nationals take more lives in America. Foreign invaders come in here and take more lives in America by murder or drunk driving or whatever means that they choose to do. They shouldn't be here for that to happen, even if it's an accident. Then we lost in a 12-year Iraqi war. That is war. The declaration of war, the very definition is an armed foreign national invader that has come uninvited into the United States, no matter what state they're in, and they take a life. That is a declaration of war on the American people. Look it up. Look it up. And there is no answer to this problem. We had him Obama turned out 36,000 foreign nationals, many of whom were guilty of murder or violent crimes, and just let them go into the population. You guys, I've got a guy that's got his hand up. I don't know who it is. 872, you've been very patient. I've opened your mic. Who's calling?
Hi, I just wanted to say something. I heard you guys talking about, gay rights and stuff like that, and I'm also a patriot, and I stand up for everything that you guys stand up for, and I just think that it's, we get treated just a little bit different because, we do the same things that you guys do, but, people just frown upon us because we fly the gay flag and stuff. And I can't tell you how many people were, against the gay flag last week. And, I was actually surprised how many patriots stood against it, because it doesn't really affect everybody's lives. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, actually what you're saying is exactly true. When you say gay rights, the word gay rights means American rights. I have a situation that I think Becky knows about. I think I've told her about this. I have a friend of mine who's gay. He's 67 years old. He had the same partner for 42 years, one of the directors of the American Red Cross, his job was feed children in disaster areas. He died in the church garden picking vegetables for the homeless. And under Texas law, my friend no property rights, nothing. The straight family came down and stripped him of everything but his flatbed truck, and the only reason he kept that is us straight guys stood up when the boys showed up, and we're going to take that truck. So you're about to take an ass whipping, what you're about to take. This man's 67 years old, okay? Every American has rights. Every American has a right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, ever how they perceive that happiness. You shouldn't hurt people because of who they are. You shouldn't deprive them of their liberty because of who they are. And if they're happy living at the end of the block, watching their television and working, no matter what they're doing, they have that right. They have that right.
Amen.
I think that all of us, black, white, gay, straight, Republican, Democrat, patriot, pagan, whatever, all of us are being used as a pawn in a great chess game. I have nothing against gay people. Like I said, I'm from Austin, and if you can't get along with gay people in Austin, you're never going to go to a restaurant and get your hair cut. Just deal with it. Everybody has a use in this life. Everybody has a peg that they fill, and that's really the way I look at it. My friend getting done the way he was, it was in a thing. We all had to pull together. He didn't have a place to live. He got thrown out. Under Texas law, it takes 30 days to throw somebody out of their house. They threw him out in 3 days. You know, bank accounts? No, ain't got a bank account. You know, all the artifacts.
Wow.
There's two gay people now, and you know how those people are. They had art, they had figurines, they had things they had collected over 40-some-odd years all around the house. All gone, every bit of it. You know, that's just wrong. But we had a way to institute American rights, you know, and the whole thing boils down to the marriage license. It all boils down to the marriage license. If you can just go and say, look, I want to live with this person, and if I die, I want my property and my money and my stuff to go to this person. If I pay taxes, I wish to pay taxes with this person. That has nothing to do with anybody else. And that's something about Texans. I don't know where you're from, but that's something about Texans. We're very, very open-minded. When Brigham Young was making his trek from Missouri to Salt Lake, the Republic of Texas made him an offer. If he would bring his band of Mary Mormons down here, we would give them the West Texas Desert. They can make anything grow out there, and we didn't care how many wives they brought with them. Didn't matter. We were fighting to form a republic. We've always been like that. To return the favor, now Brigham went to Salt Lake City and funded it because he had that in his plan. Later, when the Mexican-American War came about, Brigham ordered detachments of Mormon Danites down here to assist us in fighting the Mexicans in that war as a compliment for the offer that we had made. And that's all I've got to say. And I'm so glad, sir, that you came on here. I'm overjoyed that you're here because we are open-minded and we do love all Americans, and by golly, you're an American.
Bravo.
Well, you know,
Bravo. I appreciate that.
I didn't get this guy's name that called in, but you know that was an excellent question. I'm gonna put a little different spin on it. I'm not down with you guys. I don't like you. Period. That's it. I don't want you around me. I don't want you around my family. I don't want you around my children. Having said that, you got just as many rights as I've got. If I go down because the Constitution goes down, you go down too, brother. You got to stand up for yourself just like I do. It ain't about whether I believe in what you do or you believe in what I do. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's about what we do about our country. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you've got a contract with the government or what you're going to do with somebody and your assets and stuff. It's immaterial to me. What the Supreme Court just did is trump on everybody's rights, yours included. What happens if the Constitution fails and this country fails and the Muslims take over? Then where are you guys going to be? You're going to be say, hey, straight boy, we need your help. We need it now because they're about to throw me off a tall building here. And you know what? We're going to come help you. That's what I want you to understand. I'm discern on that. You're a human being. You deserve all the compassion, the same Bill of Rights that I've got. You've got everything that I've got. We just got a difference of opinion here. But I'm not going to hurt you. I don't think you're going to hurt me. I don't think you're going to attack me. I don't think you're going to try to kill my family. That's the difference, man, that you got to understand. Whether we agree personally or not has no bearing on it. You will never get everybody to agree personally. It ain't about religion. It ain't about justice. It ain't about a damn thing for what's right or wrong. Whether you do what you got to do, and I will too. But let's keep our country strong doing it.
Well, I can agree with that because, well, to a certain extent, most people think that we're, like, going to teach their kids and stuff how to become, like, gay and lesbian and stuff. And, you know, it's kind of irritating, believe it or not. I mean, I understand, you know, why they have a problem with it to a certain extent. But we all have the same agenda, and we're trying to fight against the same cause. So that's pretty much what it boils down to, is, you know, if you want to get to the heart of the matter.
Well, I think I appreciate you coming on here. That took some balls. I mean, that's a gutsy move, dude. And I would shake your hand because you did it. Because I see something worthwhile there, and maybe something that needs to be pursued farther.
So that was something that I had a problem, or when. Believe it or not, I'll reveal something here. About 2-3 years ago, I was asked and commissioned by a gay alliance up in New York to write a series of articles on gay marriage. And the first thing I did was I attacked the marriage license thing. I followed the money, and they never heard of that. And wait a minute, wow, really? Yeah, really? That's a kid. What are they giving you permission to get married for? You know, in licensing, you have to study the subject matter. You have to take a test, and you have to get a grade that shows you're proficient in whatever you're going to be licensed to do. Well, I know all about screwing. I don't have to be trained, okay? You don't have to license me to do that. But as far as this friend of mine, when I started that, he was really, just like this gentleman said, a lot of the gay people stand back and kind of stay, use this expression, in the closet, because they know that this is a sensitive subject. He was the same way. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm writing on this subject. Oh, my God, we live in Texas. You know better than this. You know better than this. No, I don't know better than this. I know that's wrong. I know the law. I know which way this is going. I don't know better than this. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm Bill the Butcher guy there. I make my bones making people upset. But with the other partner on here, thank you so much for coming to this forum. Thank you so much. And that did take a lot of balls to come. Normally, when you get into liberal forums, they'll eat you up. If you disagree with me, even if you don't disagree, I get eat up for being a Texan. I got eat up in India last week because I was a Texan. And some Indian girl said, well, you know how they are. You know how they are. And I said, oh, well, baby, how are we? Because I just had lunch with a sheik in Austin. He thinks I'm a pretty good guy. How are we? Well, you all carry guns and you hang black people and you drag them behind pickup trucks and you do all this. And I finally got racial, I hate to say it. Honey, have you ever been further than the fish market in your life? Then she's going to turn me in the Facebook for being, I don't know what she called me, stalking her. Oh, it was sexual harassment because I called her honey. You know, honey. And she was all upset because I called her honey. But she's nobody's honey. Believe me, she's nobody. If she's got a husband, I pity him. Okay? But thank you so much, sir, for coming on. I was really glad to hear your voice. Hey, I'm an asshole, fellas. I'm sorry. So glad to hear your voice. And thank you so much.
Hey, he dropped off the line, you guys. I'm so sorry. I looked down and he's not on the board. But I'd like to thank him as well. I mean, that took a lot of testicle fortitude to jump in here with the likes of us. JoJo, would you like to add anything, sister?
No, I just, it's just I'm kind of like what, it's like what I read when I first got on here. It's just one agenda of many, and it's more about what's happening, the whole picture, the Constitution, how 5 out of 9 people can change the law. And I mean, I realize that if you're gay, it's extremely important to you, and I understand that, but what's it going to be next week? Are they just going to make up some law to take away our guns? Or are they just going to decide that Sharia law is okay 2 weeks from now? It's just like, it can't just be one. If you're an American, you can't go full-fledged off on just one agenda. And I think it could have been done differently, because I do agree everyone should have equal rights, but it could have been done differently with some type of civil union or something. But I just strongly believe that if we're all going to get along or whatever, that the religious liberty part needs to be part of this law, as most states, I don't know, states are trying to keep their religious liberty, like Texas and Louisiana and I think Mississippi. I think federal states are just going to quit selling marriage licenses. But anyway, the whole point is, if you want to get married and the Supreme Court says you can, then find you a judge, a justice of the peace that's willing to do it and go get married and live happily ever after. But don't go around suing everybody that disagrees with you. Just, do your thing.
I agree. Let me ask you a question. You're familiar, and probably the rest of the panel, with common law marriage and the legalities that are attached to a common law union, if you will, or a common law marriage between a man and a woman. Is it true that in a common law situation that I know that it's I know it used to be, I don't know what it is now, 6 months under the guises that you're married, whether you actually took those vows and filed your marriage license, you have a common law factor. Is there not a division of property or a right to file taxes or things of that nature which would be construed as legal means in a court of law?
I'm not a lawyer.
But you being a judge, you may have to rule on that sometime. And the reason that I'm asking that is this. I understand what the fight was about. The delivery left a bad taste in the mouth of society and in the mouths of the Christians across the country. It did not taste good on their tongues, so to speak. I understand what they were fighting for, but they used the wrong ammunition to get there, if you will. They want fair taxation and be able to file as a couple. They want the right not to struggle or fight with family members who weren't on board with their relationship, like Wilbur's, God bless that person, brother. I'm so sorry to hear that happen to him. They want to be able to receive each other's pensions. If they've been together 30 years, they've had a monogamous relationship, not out here just willy-nilly sleeping with this one and that one and bringing third and fourth parties into the house. If they had a union of a family unit, so to speak, right, I understand what they were fighting for. What people don't understand, and even straight people across the board, is that filing a marriage license with the state, in essence, or in order to ask permission for recognition, is a direct intrusion on you as a human being. That is nothing more than an invasion by a state to impose upon you and your family complete control in a court system, division of property, your children, the straw man, taxes, your property. It goes on and on and on and on. Yes. I don't know about the common law. I've heard of it. You don't hear of it today as much as you used to. But there's always, I have two friends that are lesbians, and when they got together, they went and hired a lawyer. They drew up a contract between the two of them. A child was included. Before they ever became a couple or whatever you want to call it, they went to a lawyer, they drew up a contract. And they had their contract. They had their civil union. And they had everything covered in this contract that they drew up with a lawyer. And I don't know if they filed it with the circuit court or how it was filed as far as whatever. I don't know all those details. So they took the initiative because they were nurses and they knew some of the problems that gay people had, like if one of them was to get sick, who had to say so, and all those kind of things. Of course, I mean, it didn't help them, like, with insurance and stuff like that.
but they protected themselves and formed their own civil union by drawing up a contract with an attorney. That doesn't solve all the problems, but it was a good thing on their part, I think, because they ended up getting they're no longer together, so therefore that contract helps them in.
Well, I can tell you a little about common law. I know a little bit about that. That was one of the approaches we tried with our friend, and Judge Poppins said we couldn't go that way because it still had the one man, one woman thing. But I'll give you all a little situation that will astound you. One of my many liaisons was with a lady named Mary Ellen from Smithtown, New York, out on Long Island. And I wanted to marry this girl because she was astoundingly beautiful and she had more money than God. We couldn't get married because she was Jewish and her family would completely disown her. So we drew up a little piece of paper that said that in our opinion we were in fact married and wrote that thing all the way through. Now, we're not together anymore, but that's what we had to do. So it goes both ways. She was a girl and I was a guy, but she was, being Jewish, she was very blunt. If I jump up there and marry you in the JP's office, my dad's going to cut me off without a cent, and I don't want to go to work. Simple as that. You know? So the common law thing in Texas, if you present yourself as man and wife using certain criteria, bank account or at a party, this is my wife, anything, present yourself as man and wife, you can truthfully say you are in fact married, providing you're not married to someone else at the time. And that can go before the JP or even the district court. So you're together 10 years, and the guy tries to say, well, we weren't actually married. The lady can actually say, no, we were married, in that we presented ourselves as married and functioned as a married couple. But it didn't apply until last week to gay couples.
Well,
wow.
I mean, there's injustices on everybody. I mean, and I don't have the answers. You don't. Becky don't. None of us do. It's just the whole thing it's part of a huge. It's not just one thing I worry about. I worry about a lot of things. I'm worried right now because they want to take down all these. They want to ruin our history and start taking down monuments and tell you can't buy a flag.
They're destroying them.
I mean, that bothers me too. That bothers me a lot because that's history.
Well, that's disguising history. That's taking down. That's changing history. That's hiding it from the people. So what? So they can control you in a later date. That's what it's about. To get rid of the Confederate battle flag, which is okay. I understand that. I understand a lot of stigma to it, but education can fix that. But to a lot of people in the South, myself included, that flag has been with me ever since I can remember. That flag has always represented my hope that no matter what, I'm going to be okay, that I'm going to persevere, that although I am a defeated person, I still have my flag and I still can fly it in my heart. And now they want to take that away from me too, you know. I mean, this is sad. This is just one more attack.
Let's look at the big picture. How can one man, one mayor of one town, and I'm going to use New Orleans for example, because the mayor of one town wants to get rid of a statue of General Robert E. Lee. And then there's a statue in front of the cathedral in New Orleans of Andrew Jackson that is on every picture of New Orleans in the world. So now we're just going to, because one group of mayors and city councils, they're only elected 4 years, so we're going to let one cycle of elected people the whole history of New Orleans? I mean, that's what just totally bumfuzzles me.
Rather much like ISIS just got in power and destroyed a lot of ancient artifacts from the Christian era. I mean, think about that. That's what we got going on. Or these are our ISIS attacks we got going on in our own country, destroying our heritage that happened in the Middle East the same way. I mean, who are these people? Right.
But I'm going to have to get off of here in a minute, but it's just like the first thing I read when I came on. It was about it's not just about gay marriage or this, that, or the other. It's what the Supreme Court has done overall. Now, if you're gay and you're celebrating, more power to you. But you got to look at the bigger picture of what's happened here, because what's it going to be 2 weeks from now? What's it going to be 2 months from now? So now these 9 people can decide if we're going to have Sharia law. Can these 9 people decide that we can't have guns? Can these 9 people take away the whole Bill of Rights thing here?
That is very profound.
Well, you know what, folks? We're in deep poop. Now we have to find out, is there, in fact, a resolution? Is there a resolution that can be found? Are we going to have to shake the tree? Are we going to have to water it with lives and blood? I mean, there is no Calvary coming to save us. That's clear. I know for a fact, based on the documentaries that I just watched, and checked the validity of them, they are real. It wasn't just somebody, that chose to do a documentary for conspiracy sake. We have a corrupt military who is taking command from the cabal and the Muslim usurper in Washington, and nobody's coming to save us. Nobody. The whites are pitted against the blacks against the whites, the Muslim Brotherhood and the La Raza movement have joined the blacks, the destruction of America is at hand. They're teaching masturbation and gender equality from kindergarten now, the Common Core issue. I mean, it's unbelievable, the attacks on America. We have infighting with the militia groups, egomaniacs, narcissists, claiming to be leaders of groups that are supposed to be in the patriotic movement. There's infighting shields. You name it. We're doing it. We're doing it right now. We can inform. Their ability to actually process the information is limited because most people have tunnel vision. They can only focus on one thing at a time or a couple of things at a time. They don't get the big picture. They don't have the ability to discern what exactly is going on. So what we've got to do is find great leaders like those that I've invited to the call today. And we have to find a way to, 2 things, either find a resolution to avoid revolution, or we have to get our shit together. And when I say that, I mean off of social networks, actively taking action in the communities to form and form groups that can defend and protect. Because if we have to shake that tree, if we have to water that tree, we are not prepared to do so other than having a bunch of people tell me how many bullets they have or rounds and how many weapons they have and how great a shot they were at the range. Listen, a piece of paper standing still doesn't fire back, nor does it move. Don't fool yourself. If you have not been out training the way a military group trains, like the Muslim training camps that we have all over America right now, if you haven't been out doing that like they're doing it, you're going to be no match.
Gonna be out there.
Hello. Hey, sorry,
Bobby.
Hey, sorry if it's really, really noisy in the background. Man, what a catastrophe of a day, I can tell you that. Been stuck in with this damn truck. Stupid truck broke down on me and had one of the airlines, not the airline, but the air chamber itself on the truck went out. So no tractor brakes, no trailer brakes. So the stupid truck broke down on me. Luckily, I was lucky enough to get into the right-hand lane to get out of traffic, and that's where it broke down. Then I couldn't get out from underneath the load because I was, I had like a 60,000-pound load on my back, and I couldn't, get out from underneath of it. It was just a big mess. So, but anyway, here I am. I was driving down the road, bobtailed, no brakes. And my boss is like, you have to be one of the craziest bastards I ever met in my life. And I'm like, it's not really a big deal, driving with no brakes when there's no traffic. If there was traffic, then I'd be worried because nobody's working today. But anyway, a couple things that I wanted to cover. Since we actually have somebody on that might be able to talk about this, I wanted to talk about the whole Casey Massey case. And Judge Hannon, I would like to ask
what do you think that Judge Hannon may have done correctly and incorrectly? Because right now, the way that we're fighting, with the way that Casey's fighting, trying to get out of jail and everything, it's not a very good situation because Judge Hannon, in my eyes, is a good judge. He's the one that went against Obama. He's the one that stood up for, not, what the hell was that, Becky, that he stood up for? I'm trying to remember. I just had it on the tip of my tongue, but I've held it there for a long time. The whole, God, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, Judge Hannon went against Obama, okay? So he's actually a constitutional judge. We know this. But on the same token, I mean, for him to lock Casey up, and then to hold him there, I mean, I understand putting him in there to penalize him for, the urine test and for coming up dirty for a dirty drop, but to keep him in the cell, all this time doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I just really don't get it at all. And I want to know, did he truly do something against the law? Because by Texas state law, he should have been able to be in possession of a firearm. Because his case was 20-some-odd years ago.
If you're asking me, I don't know anything about that, so I can't answer that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew the legalities and so on and so forth because, Casey's case was 26 years ago or something that he actually, was found guilty, for whatever the case was, that many years ago. And I guess Texas state law says, as long, 10 years or something like that, if, you've been a good citizen, good Samaritan and all that, that you can have a firearm and so on and so forth, legally after 10 years. I might be wrong on the years. But I know you can have one.
He was incarcerated on a felony, a nonviolent. There was no firearm involved in the felony. Had to do with the transference of goods, in other words, from robberies. I believe he was part of the fencing operation or something to that degree. Anyway, it was a felony. And, most of us are aware of the law change concerning a felon owning a weapon or being in possession of a weapon is a violation. So what happened was Casey Massey was on the border. He's a convicted felon. Felons cannot own a firearm. I believe that law was created in 1930-something, Prohibition, maybe the 20s, whatever, that had to do with that law. And he got caught at the border in possession of a weapon. And the ATF and the feds are actually who picked him up. It wasn't the local law enforcement because it was after the fact that they went after him. It was a couple of weeks after an incident down on the border. So they put him in jail.
Yeah, the Border Patrol actually fired upon him.
Yes, and so they put Casey in jail. Casey gets out. He's under house arrest. Knowing full well what the terms were, even though there was no drugs involved, they required him to take a drug test periodically, and he failed the drug test. They revoked his freedom and put him back in jail. So that's what Bobby's referring to.
Did we get lost, or what happened?
I don't know.
Becky, you still here?
But I don't think that she could comment on that, even if she wanted to. This is like this kind of judge thing that they won't comment on one another's cases, or I don't think she could say anything about that. Casey's case is actually, for the people out there that are listening, he wasn't actually charged. He was charged with a Interstate Commerce Commission ruling that he was breaking a law, a federal law, by receiving the end result of interstate Commerce, the transfer of firearms or ammunition, which is prohibited for any felon, and it's kind of a long-reaching charge because there's no telling where the weapons or the ammunition that Casey had on him came from. It could have been gifts from a Texan.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I mean, one judge wouldn't want to, I guess, critique the other one's case. So, yeah, that totally makes sense to me. I mean, I was just wondering, I just was asking the question because, I mean, in my eyes, he's wrongfully in jail, And that's just the way I look at it.
What about Dyer? He's still in jail. He ain't getting out. And I mean, they won't even look at evidence.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. No,
and that's the same thing that's going on with Casey.
Right. No, I was just asking about Casey because, because of him having, the medical issues and, and everything else, and they're not taking care of him correctly. But, no, there's a list. I mean, I know that there's at least 5 or 6 people that are facing the same thing that Casey's facing right now. And, I just was generalizing Casey, because of his medical condition and, all the things that he has going on right now. So.
This Casey breaks my heart. We're personal friends. And for me to know this man, to know his free spirit and what he was like, I met him at the border. I know he is a man that loves the outdoors. He loves everything. He's a spirit. That's what he is. He's not just a person. He's a spirit. He's still alive. And even to think of him in the position that he's in now, it breaks my heart. And I wish I could help him. I wish I could do something for him. I wish I was a constitutional lawyer that would devote his life to fixing this problem. But, it's the same old apathy that I'm seeing. Everybody has theirs. They don't care about you getting yours. It was said on this very show yesterday that, people are not going to give up anything for the rest of humanity ever. That it's just not done anymore. That who cares, right? We're going to after our own. The basic greed that I got mine, you better get yours the best you can. And that's what's kind of happening to Casey. To Casey, it's a horrible situation.
When the Minutemen dispersed and the soldiers went off to war, they walked away from their farms, their livelihoods. They understood that if they did not stand and fight, then surely they would have nothing.
Yeah. And the men that signed the Declaration of Independence gave everything. Most of them died in poverty. Most of them never recovered after the Revolutionary War. Some were hunted down and killed. I mean, people have been doing that in America for a long time. What's going on now that we can't even give a little bit, much less give it all, And
you're right. You're right, brother. Well, guys, we're about to run out of time here. This has been a great panel today. I want to thank you for coming on again. I want to thank you for coming together, and we need to get together off air, offline, whether it be by a conference and scheduling a meetup. We need to take that time, make those sacrifices, whatever it takes to save this country, because I'm telling you, this has been a perpetual fast forward in this last term for this tyrant, and we've got to find a way to take care of what's going on.
Amen to that.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to the show today. As Bobby states, without you, we are absolutely nothing. Bobby, you got something you want to say, brother?
Yeah, actually, Bill has been waiting. I think Bill has got a couple things that he wanted to touch upon, and I
can't see him on the board. The board is actually stupid today. all the calls,
Okay.
and I've been scrolling for him. So if he wants to say something, he needs to ring your phone real quick, and you need to chime in three-way. I've got, we had an issue earlier before you came on, and I had to tie Floyd in. He got bumped off. So the board's acting stupid, and we can't contact Blog Talk today. They're closed until Monday on support. They had a notice when I opened up the board today.
Yeah, I received an email from them saying that they're having technical issues and that they will not be able to handle any of the technical issues until Monday because everybody's gone and on vacation, whatever, for the weekend. So I don't know what kind of business does that, but okay.
Monday, I have my South Africans coming on. They're going to be on the show talking about the white genocide, what's going on in South Africa. They both reside now in the UK. Their lives were very much in danger. Jack Sin is a political figure who has taken the African national seat in the election to represent the party, the BNP party, for fighting against the white genocide in South Africa. I'm not sure Claudia Bryan may or may not be joining us as well on Monday, but Karen Smith will be with us. It will be Monday. I will create the link and get it to the people. It's going to be an early show, folks, because they are in the UK. There's a 6-hour difference. They're 6 hours ahead of us, so that show will be an early show on Monday. Be vigilant. Pay attention to your surroundings this weekend. We're on high alert. Situational awareness will be your best friend this weekend. Report anything that you see that may be suspicious behavior or package if it's dropped somewhere, and use your common sense. Don't take your family into big venues that could be a possible target for the devil's minions. Islam is here, and they have promised to wreak havoc on America, and we have a lot of threats for July 4th. This is the Ramadan. Eat all the pork you can get in your belly to pay homage to Muhammad, if you will. Drop a couple of pigs off at a local mosque and share free pork sandwiches with the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be very aware of your surroundings this weekend, and all the threats that they've supposedly made. I mean, we know that they really have been making threats forever and ever, and finally the government wants to step forward and make it a public notice. Then the whole thing that I think is the biggest joke there is, and nobody's catching on to it, is the government is asking for the malicious help on this. Okay, which to me is a crock of crap. Okay, everybody knows they're not going to ask for the malicious help on nothing. Okay, so watch out for the false flags because there's going to be one coming again. I can tell it, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just trying to be a realist. And usually, whenever they come out and tell you about 100%. Something and warn you about something or whatever, something always happens, and it's always a false flag.
Yep. When they start telling you something's going to happen, then you better listen because they're telling you something's going to happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
If you witness a flag burning, and you will, because they're calling for burning of the flags on July 4th across the country, codes in your state, but the U.S. flag code states that is a criminal offense, feel free, if need be, by force to apprehend that person after you've checked your laws. If you have the right in your state to do so, you stop a felony in progress. You handle your business. Don't let these little thugs and pigs that are burning the American flag on our soil get away with it. You handle your business. America, stand up and get tough. Bobby, anybody? Hello?
No, I'm here, Becky. I just muted myself. Sorry about that. I just muted myself because I didn't want to.
Handle your business. All right. Well, I just want people handling their business. This is our Independence Day. We fought like hell for it. People died for it. And we are in a war as we speak. Do not let them remove the very symbolism of this country. Don't do it. If you witness them burning a flag, handle your business.
Yes, and I'll add to that, don't let them terrorize you. Don't let them even scare you. You're so much safer than most countries, and you've got people all around you. If you're worried about it, stick that 45 in your pocket with your CST permit and go have a barbecue ever. I mean, don't let these people threats scare you into being terrorized in this country, because that's what they're all about, is to threaten you, to control your emotions. Right? Well, we're not afraid.
The Quran instructs them to do that. The Quran instructs them to strike terror in the hearts of the citizens.
That's right, and that's what I'm telling people. Don't let them terrorize you. Don't be a captive in your own backyard here. Make these people pay. If someone wants to come burn a flag right here in southern Oklahoma, there's one flying. There's only an old man standing around with an old shaggy-looking sheepdog to protect him, and you got a very, very good chance that maybe you can get it on fire.
Not chance you're going to walk away unscathed. Well, I had somebody tell me, carry around a pocket full, or lighter fluid. And when you catch somebody burning a flag, just squirt them with this. I was rolling. I was like, damn, that's harsh. But anyway,
we'll shoot you in the foot.
I know, right?
Shoot you between the eyes for that, but I'll shoot you in the foot.
I prefer hand-to-hand combat whenever I'm educating or schooling somebody on a good lesson. but I had the privilege of 3 years of kickboxing, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Krav Maga is my passion now. So I have the capability. Most people might not, but I kind of prefer a little pinch between the fist and gun myself. But thank you again for coming to the show. Y'all have a blessed and safe weekend. Bobby, go ahead and close the show out, brother.
Well,
landscapers are here.
I guess I can close the show out, even though I kind of really wasn't here. But you know what? We want to thank everybody that comes here and joins us for these roundtables. I mean, they're very informative shows. I mean, if you can't learn something while sitting here and listening to this show, well, then you just don't have an open mind. You don't want to learn anything. It's that simple. But we want to thank each and every one of you that come here, join us, sit down, and have a nice little round table. Also, that come here and listen to the shows, and everybody that puts in their own 2 cents, gives us a call, and asks questions, comments, so on and so forth. We appreciate each and every one of you, because each and every one of you, with your own little pieces, you're the ones that put the whole puzzle together. Because if it wasn't for any of you, we would not have shows. We wouldn't even be sitting here talking about anything, and we'd probably be, maybe having a barbecue or something. I don't know. But we appreciate every one of you that have called in, have shared information on the shows and everything else. And without you, we are nothing. Okay. And as I say, every show, if we do not learn something, each and every show from somebody that's been on the show, well then, then we just didn't do our job. That's for sure. So, but everybody have a great Independence Day. Forget 4th of July. We're going to call it what it really is. It's Independence Day, and, we're going to give recognition to the people that have lost their lives, giving independence to this country, standing up for what we believe in, and protecting Old Glory and helping us get a good night's sleep. So we want to thank each and every one of the people that are part of the armed forces, and we want to pray for their families, for the ones that have lost somebody in this stupid war that we're fighting. But that's about it. So, everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday.
All right. Y'all have a blessed night. This is Becky Williams with Rage Against the Regime podcast. God bless America. Safe holiday to you folks. And I'll see you on Monday.